take to reduce the divisiveness currently impacting the village?
Just try to hear each other out, try to be nice, try not to interrupt, try not to get angry, take a deep breath, and try to be empathetic, and put yourself in another person's shoes. I mean, everyone needs to read the book. We all learn what we need to learn in kindergarten, right? I learned everything I need to learn in kindergarten. You just need to treat each other well and try not to step on any toes.
Great, thank you. Debbie, same question. What actions would you take to reduce the divisiveness currently impacting the village?
Another good question. I think that that would pretty much be my number one priority, to bring both sides of the village together. Because when we act together and we realize, I mean, let me make an analogy. I think of Poquott as a vat of soup. You might be a carrot, you might be an onion, I might be a piece of celery. We're all in the same vat of soup. And we're all supposed to work together and make it a delicious soup, right? That's how I think this is a beautiful community to open our hearts and minds and to really, you know, I'm a peace, love, Woodstock, groovy kind of chick, and that's how I talk, and I'm really about that, and I really try and live a life of giving and caring, and I would go and plenty of door knocking, and telling people that we really should really be kind to one another, and I've done a lot of it the past month. And I think it really works. And when you believe what's in your heart and you do what's in your heart, I think that's the most important thing. So I think it's a grassroots movement, and that's what comes to my mind first.
Thank you. John, what actions would you take to reduce the divisiveness currently impacting the village?
Just be myself. I think that we've gotten caught up in a lot of posting and a lot of messaging. I find that people like to text a lot, people like to post a lot, and they say things, the words on the screen aren't the same as them coming out of their mouth. It's so much easier to hide behind a keyboard, and it's amazing how when you confront somebody, not even confront, just, hey listen, let's, face to face, because I guarantee you there's some people I've had problems with, not even problems, but just discrepancies. And I went up and, you know what, it wasn't what I saw. The words on the screen weren't matching the person that I thought typed them. Just kill them with kindness. That's the only thing I can really say is, just make ample opportunities to show that you're not only an olive branch. It's not going to be easy, the position that the village is in didn't happen overnight. This happened over the course of years, and it's probably going to take about the same amount of time to really rebuild these relationships. And you know what, maybe some of these relationships and friendships that people have lost, they might not be rebuilt, but you know what, you have to put your best foot forward, and sometimes you got to swallow a bit of pride, and do something you wouldn't normally do, and you got to look at, like what Angie said, you got to just put a smile on them, and just say, look, let's get back to neutral, as far as communication, sometimes you got to do something you don't want to do, and it's not going to get better without giving a little more of yourself. And if someone's going to say no, well then that's fine. At least you gave the best effort. But we all got to give a little bit to get something what we want.
Great, thank you all very much. We have about I don't know, maybe 8 to 10 minutes for questions from the audience. So, you want to?
So what is your feeling about the role of a public hearing? So the village is required to have public hearings when they want to change laws. So we have public hearings that are scheduled, we have them, but then immediately after the public hearing, before there's been any digestion of the information, the board votes on whatever it is they were going to vote on. So I'm curious about what you feel the role of the public hearing is in village and how the board does its business.
That's a great question. I'm sorry, you want to do it. Yeah, I think it's a public hearing. Is that really just a display of what the village plans on doing, or is it, I think that's really, I think a public hearing, well, what's the point of having a public hearing? Is it just so the public can hear what we're gonna do? Or is it, what's your opinion, why are we here? We're here to listen to what you're gonna do, is that it?
So public,
Yeah, I know where you're going with it, but I'm just saying, let's
they're
get
required by law.
right.
Supposedly, the spirit of the public hearing, supposedly, is so that the public has the right to voice its
Their opinion in a public hearing. So from what I'm gathering,
and
you're just saying,
supposedly to be heard.
right. So from what I'm understanding is on public hearings, we're not hearing, the public is hearing what the board's gonna do instead of the public being heard. That's where I think it should be, correct?
Yes.
Public hearings pretty much has been a one-sided conversation.
Well, people are allowed to say things,
Right.
but there's
Nothing's taken
no,
into consideration.
there's no time for digestion
Right.
by the board or discussion by the board.
Because it's going right into it, like the ink's not even dry yet before,
That's
yeah,
correct.
I say no.
So nothing's been taken into consideration what the public has said.
Said.
Right.
But it's
Just
required,
the
but
way
it's
it was
required
done.
by law that there be a public hearing, so there are public hearings.
So it
But
just
it's not
goes,
required by law to have a certain amount of
It's
deliberation
not required
time.
by law that the public hearing be paid attention to.
Or that there be any time between the public hearing and the vote. It goes right into it, so whatever you said is just.
so in
Thank
other
you.
words, I see.
Or the
We
trustees
can't
can't
make a law
discuss
to
it amongst
have
each
them
other.
Listen, or make them care.
No,
But we
but
can make
as a,
They just vote.
as a board
They
member,
don't
what would you do?
sit there and talk
right?
about it.
So these public hearings then go into a closed session of the board where the board votes on things. As a board member, what would you do?
Why do we have to go into a back room and decide? Why can't we decide in front of everybody?
And discuss it openly.
Why is
Or
that
not,
acceptable?
or not vote until there's been time to discuss what was
That's a great
discussed
idea.
at the public meeting, which is what most other governing bodies do.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah, that should be
agree.
changed if that's not happening now, that
It's
should
not.
definitely happen. There needs to be time between the public hearing and the decision-making process. There needs to be time. Right.
Gary?
Yeah, I have one question. Are any of the candidates tonight, how would you handle the illegal rentals in the village? And have any of the three ever rented your house out in the past
I've never rented out my house. I've been in my house since
to
I bought it.
renters?
But that I would need to look into more. I don't know how you go about walking up to someone's residence and saying, we think you may have an illegal apartment, we're gonna come in and check. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you, I don't know the proper way to go about that, but I think it's an important thing that it's a function of the village government, absolutely, so, yeah, that's an issue that we have, but I don't.
I'm coming from the safety side of it, that's why I'm asking.
Sorry,
John?
John.
Do you think that there should be a village-wide private ballot concerning the construction of the dock? Should there now be a village-wide vote on building the dock or not? That never has been one. There have been surveys and incidental information, but how about a village-wide vote at which we would tell the board how we feel about it?
Yes, I would, that would be ideal. I know, Carol has asked for that she asked for that meeting, at a meeting months ago.
2 months
Yeah.
ago.
Yep,
Yeah.
in this exact room, I think it was Valentine's Day.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember there was a ballot.
It was a
Oh, survey.
Survey. Not a
Why was there
voter.
2 put out per house? I didn't understand
You
that.
weren't allowed
For-
to
for-
be anonymous. Right.
Yes, you had to sign your opinion,
Okay.
and there were two
Discounted it.
questions
So
for
is that
the
considered a vote?
two adults in the
No,
house.
that's not a vote.
Guys, we gotta talk one at a time because otherwise nobody hears anybody. And that's in charge.
I was just curious to know what happened to your other two people that were up. Just curious, I don't know.
Well, what happened was, Or-
No, let's
Well,
Beth
I
handle
would
it.
say that the mayor sent out an email discouraging all of the candidates from showing up because she suggested that the Civic Association has legal issues. Why the mayor thinks that she is more informed about any reported legal issues of the Civic Association is beyond me, because she hasn't been involved in the Civic Association for years. But trustees Berry and Coppelson decided not to come.
I would like to add to that after we informed trustees Berry and Coppelson that the mayor is misinformed about legal issues, we re-invited them and said, please take this under consideration, that there are no legal issues, and we think it's a great opportunity for you to come and meet your constituents and your other candidates and have another forum, because people didn't all go last week because they had this on their calendars. And then another one came out, so they said, well, I'm already scheduled to go next week, I'll just wait to go, and I was planning on going. And they didn't even answer our second invitation. And then thirdly, I sent trustee Berry my own personal question of why he wasn't coming, because he and I have had conversation in the last week and a half. And he didn't answer my personal email to his personal email either. So we don't know why they didn't show up.
May I add one more thing? I spoke to an attorney about, there's no law, anyone can hold a meet and greet the candidates.
I spoke to an attorney.
Anyone can. Anybody. There's no law, anybody can throw in, you don't have to be you don't have to be anything, a person, an organization, a non-for-profit, a senator, or this, anyone can throw a meet and greet. There's no law. And it's a wonderful way to get to know one another. Sure. And I wish they had come. I really do. I really do.
And our board also wishes they had come, which is why we took the trouble to give them yet a second invitation and let them know that we are not out of compliance as the mayor believes.
And could I just add something? Trustee Berry demanded a list of the questions that we were going to be asking, because he felt it was not fair and we were going to give them the questions. Do you think any of them had the questions?
No.
And he was very nasty in his email to us, and that's really why they didn't come, because if you were at the last meet and greet, Trustee Berry sat there and read his answers. He did not speak from his heart.
I'd like to ask for each of you, okay, to imagine for a minute that you in particular, not the other two, but you in particular, have been elected to the trustee position. And you are sitting with the board, and the board makes decisions and steps all over you, does not listen to you, or disagrees with you, and makes it very uncomfortable for you. And remember, it's not all three of you, just one of you. And no matter what you do, every time an issue comes up, you're getting nowhere, okay? I would like to know how you, in particular, are going to try to work with the board. What would you do to try to get your foot in the door? Because that seems to be the most difficult thing right now. We have people on the board who do not listen to anybody else, who disagree with them. So I'd like to know from each of you what you would do. You're sitting out there all by yourself.
I think you're, in the face of complete opposition, you need to really find out what, answer a question with a question, like where is their real motive coming from? What's the root behind this? What is really, why are they so steadfast in this one position? Who is it benefiting? And just constant question. You can't answer a question without an answer. I can see where your point is, because I can see this has happened at meetings.
It happens all the
But
time.
you have to be tenacious, you really do, in a situation like that, though, because, we're all up here, and I think we're all pretty much on the same platform that we want, we've all been in the same position where we want the village people to at least have the same.
Right, but how are you going to communicate that with the other 4 people on the board, including the mayor.
I think one major aspect of positive